Hey everyone, I'm Eric. This is my wife Julie. We are the Blended Life, and today we are going to be talking about.
Today we've got exciting news. We're unveiling some new ways you guys can connect with us and support with us. We're also going to talk about our read-along we're doing with grace-filled step parenting, a new book that you can read along with us and me. And then we have two questions, one dealing with the overwhelm of joining two households and basically having two homes filled with stuff, dwindling it down to one home and some advice around that. And then finally, we're going to discuss about your stepchild ruling the roost and what you might be able to do or things to consider when you're trying to figure that out as the step.
And lastly, how to deal with conversations while being angry or not anger. So,
to anger or not to anger?
That is the question. Welcome back to another episode of Blended Life, you guys. Sorry we're a day late and $1 short, but speaking of $1, we spent the day, and it just got too late on us to put out this episode, so we are a day late, but it's because we have been working on something that we said that we were going to announce to you guys last week, and that is we have just recently launched a Patreon account as well as Buy Me a Coffee account, because we are doing this, just trying to gain traction here, get more people involved, and this isn't something we make money on.
Yeah, and really it's our heart to build a community, because blended families are, if you're in it, you feel isolated, like nobody really understands you, and that can be really, really hard.
Right.
And then when you're getting advice from your friends or family who aren't relating to blended family life,
or they're just super biased.
Well, they're biased, but then the quality of advice is kind of falls flat because there's so many dynamics that can't be explained.
Right.
So our purpose has always been to build a community. I think out of a need that we needed a community.
For sure. We still do. We need you guys.
So it was like, how do we do this? And it started out with Instagram. And then to our podcast and Facebook. And we have a Facebook group. If you're not a part of, we have a free Facebook group right now going with, you can sign up for that. And so we love being able to give everything as much as we can for free. But we're at a point in our lives and a crossroads in our lives where we feel that maybe people would like to contribute to what we do so that we can maintain this facility, be able to pay rent where our studio is.
And expand. We only want to make this podcast better. We're a little clunky right now. That's just because we literally do. You guys know you're in a blended family and you are stretched so thin. And we're going to talk about that in a little while, just being stretched thin and feeling like there's just no time for anything, and clutter builds up and just chaos. It feels like chaos quite often. And so we're trying to do this in the midst of our chaotic lives. And it's just one way to kind of help us going, encourage us. And also you guys get a lot of perks out of it too. So we've set up right now, we've set up 3 tiers that all have perks. And I
have a favorite tier.
Do you? Which one's that?
Tier 3.
Tier 3?
Yeah.
Not because of the money though, right?
No.
And I know it's not because of the money, because,
But so 3 tiers.
Right.
And what's really cool, and you may have known this if you guys follow us and stuff. So one thing all 3 tiers gets is access to Blended Life Raw. And
I'm laughing because I drew. If you guys are watching this,
don't give away your secrets.
Okay.
But so we're gonna have a private Instagram account that you have to be a Patreon to be able to have access to, and On that account's going to be just raw footage of us, our family, things that you don't get to see.
Just not as polished, a lot like our podcast. No, not. It's going to be a lot of uncensored, unfiltered,
real shit.
Yeah, a little more in the midst of it.
Yeah, and you'll get to see in our lives a little bit more. We'll pop on live with you guys on Instagram and things like that. So that's for all the tiers, which I think is really cool. We get a lot of questions about how we deal with things, and you might get some real life. It always goes really well when we're trying to work through stuff on air.
Yeah, right.
But you will see that.
Right.
We're going to let you in our lives.
As well as tier 2 and tier 3 have a private Facebook group. They're all private. You have to be accepted into all of them, but one of them you'll always be accepted into. That's the one that's going right now. But the second one is going to be a little more one-on-one with us. It's like guaranteed responses and interaction.
So this is the second tier, which if you sign up for that tier, we're going to have a special Blended Life Raw Facebook group, which is private. You have to belong to the tier to have access. And then when you don't belong to the tier, you get booted. So it's kind of cutthroat, which I love. But when you're in there, we guarantee that we're going to respond to all of your questions, to all of your comments. We are going to be in there, both of us, doing Facebook Live sometimes in our Facebook group. So it's just another level where Instagram kind of gets lost as far as we get a ton of messages, and sometimes
we're just at the point where we're getting overwhelmed with stuff. Like, it's not only is our life crazy, but we're growing this community thanks to you guys. So if you guys are listening right now or watching, just thank you for being here with us. We literally can't do it without you guys. And there'd be no point of doing it without you guys, because then we would just be having these conversations, not recording them, and probably be a little more raw than Blended Life Raw.
Yeah. I mean, this podcast has really been great for our marriage.
For sure.
Honestly.
More good than bad.
More good than bad.
For sure.
But so that's like the second tier, and you guys can go explore. There's different also the highlights though of the 3 tiers. And then the third tier, which I think is really cool because people can have access to me. If you want coaching, you get Julie. But tier 3 includes a 1 hour. Is it 1 hour, 50-minute session?
Yeah, we're pretty lenient. We're going to work it with you guys.
So we are going to give you an hour FaceTime, whether it's Zoom or in person if you're local. If you're not local, I'm sure we can figure it out, like if you want to drive
FaceTime,
and meet.
Whatever we need to do.
So you can have a 2-on-1, 2-on-2. You get Eric and myself for an hour, just you guys.
Monthly while you're in the tier.
Yeah. 1 hour a month, and we can talk about whatever you want. You can ask us whatever you want.
Which is actually a killer deal, because at the end of the day, it's cheaper than your coaching. So you get perks, So it's it's a good thing. However, it's not your 90-day program.
It's not my 90-day program.
But it's
we're going to coach you together.
We're going to have fun.
So you have access to Eric that way, which I think a lot of people, a lot of women, especially men feel like you're on their side.
Just keep pumping my ego. Let's go.
And men feel like you're on their side, so they have a.
Oh, definitely. I'm with you guys.
And then women, though, really want the male's perspective because we don't understand our husbands. Like, fuck you guys. We don't understand what you're saying. So I'm really excited for that tier because I'm excited to get to know our listeners more and to build friendships. And, a lot of good things can come from that. So it's an investment, right? Of course, but it's a worthwhile investment because you grow in community. That is one thing that we have things called paradigms in coaching, and my coaching transformation program has paradigms, and those are beliefs that I stand on. And one of the beliefs I stand on in life is that you grow in community, not in isolation. You have to have people around you to sharpen you, to hold you accountable, to encourage you, to pull you along, to hold you back when you're driving your car off a cliff. Like you don't get stretched in isolation. You need people. And so it's a really great way to just connect and to build friendships. Our Facebook group, I have dreams for that even, you guys. Like, what if we did a retreat someday where we all got to meet each other in person. And we rented out a hotel, you know, and had activities.
With cabanas. Hotel with cabanas.
Yes. Yes. All the kids can bring us drinks and go. Just kidding. No, just kidding. But, I mean, this Facebook group, our private one, if it's small, it's great because it's building relationships, building connections with people who are like-minded, who want the same kind of peace and live easy-ness out of our blended family lives. So this is an opportunity.
Clarity.
Yeah, this Patreon account is an opportunity to invest in community, to invest in us, to invest in, you know, the work that we're doing, but also in yourselves, because you get possibilities opened up to you just through connection, not only with us, but with other members like you.
And it keeps us going. It really keeps us going. So we appreciate it.
But yeah, and know that our podcast, this is always going to be free. You can always go listen to our podcast for free. The Facebook group that exists now, again, free. And so we really enjoy just being able to put out content and just do it to do it.
Out of the love of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and
what else?
Of it. Well, so if you guys are interested, patreon.com/blended life and buy me a coffee /blended life. They're both two different platforms, very similar.
So buy me a coffee, if you haven't heard of that. Some people don't really want to buy into anything. They're not looking to get anything in return. They just want to support a cause. That's kind of buy me coffee.
Although there's tiers on it. There are tiers on it.
There?
We have tiers, but it can be a one-time thing also.
Oh, explain those tiers.
Which is great.
Is it the same as
it's the exact same. It's the exact same pricing. So if you guys prefer a platform, or if
I
there's
didn't know that. I thought
there's
it was
other
just a
ones that will
donation.
probably go down that road eventually also. Those are just the two that we have set up right now. And
Nice.
they're probably
Well,
the
there you go.
most streamlined. Should be very easy to use. So we'll appreciate that. I'm going to link everything down below. So if you're listening to this, whatever platform you're listening to it on or watching it, there'll be links to everything down below as well. So we just appreciate you guys. And
thanks, you guys. Thanks for partnering with us and being a part of this journey with us. We're definitely on a journey. We feel privileged that you open up your eyes and ears and hearts to us and what we're doing. And we hope to make a difference. You know, we hope to educate and encourage and maybe
and
push.
season your burgers, because take us with a grain of salt.
Okay, that was so cheesy.
I came up with you're making burger jokes too. Listen to you. Cheesy. I love cheesy burgers.
All right. The next little bit of housekeeping before we jump into our questions. This is also free, so I'm not even selling anything right now. But we are going to be doing a read along with this book, Grace-Filled. Oh, am I supposed to? Sorry.
I'm just putting it in focus
for you. I don't know where you're at. What camera? You guys have so many cameras. I don't know. Grace-Filled Step Parenting by Lori Pollock Short. Go on Amazon. You can purchase this book on Amazon. It's about $10. And we're going to start January. Oh, God. No, we're starting September 1st. Each week, we're going to read 2 chapters. There's 10 total, so it'll be a total of 5 weeks. And then I'm going to discuss this on our Instagram. This is not on the Patreon, so it'll be on our normal Instagram. Details to follow, when and times for that, but you'll be able to go on and it'll kind of be... we'll just discuss it. You can ask questions. I'll invite you guys on to split screen and talk about it. Lori, at the end of our series, our 5 weeks of this read-along, is going to actually come on our podcast.
Nice.
And she's going to answer your questions. So as you're reading this book with me, jot down your questions for Lori that you have, and you can submit them. And then when she comes on, she'll answer your questions. And who knows, maybe she'll also pop on one of our Instagram lives when we discuss this book each week. If you want to, so for my coaching program, everyone who signs up before September 1st is going to get this gifted to them. And I'm also tacking on 15 minutes to our sessions to discuss this book one-on-one with me, outside of the normal session stuff. So that's an added perk if you end up signing up with me in my 90-day transformational coaching program. I will gift you this book and tack on 15 minutes to our sessions to dedicate solely to discussing this. So that's pretty amazing.
Nice.
Email me at becomingheardnow at gmail.com if you are interested in finding out more about coaching. And then, Friday.
Friday,
Look
what?
out. So this Friday, I don't know the date.
Okay.
The following Friday from this.
Right.
Look at the date. I don't know. But Friday, we are going to be doing a giveaway. Lori has graciously offered to gift a book to one of our listeners to kind of kick off this read along and to promote her book because she's just awesome. So
That's
we're
fun.
going to do a giveaway. So it's going to be Instagram only,
So
just on our
Friday,
Life.
August 6th, 2021.
Yeah, you can go check out a post. We'll run the giveaway through the weekend and then draw a winner Monday or Tuesday the following week. Basically, there'll be instructions on the post on how you can enter. But look for that on our Instagram and you can get your hands on a free book possibly
Nice.
from her. So that's pretty awesome. I'm really excited to read it. I've kind of been eyeing it and reading it here and there.
You've always got it open. We
I
got a
know.
slow start on this.
So I'm trying not to read it so I can just be fresh with you guys. But it's like reading something your best friend wrote.
Nice.
It's really amazing the way she talks, and it is very encouraging. So I'm excited for you guys to get your hands on this. Whether you read along with us or not, please go out and get this book, Grace-Filled Step Parenting, and I hope you do read along with us. And
we've had some really good books on this so far. We've had, do you remember the titles offhand? I'm not as good at book titles. Just Tamara has a really fun one.
I could go get it.
I know
there.
it's out here. I'm just drawing a blank. We're running low on fumes right now.
Running really low.
The new friend. Oh my gosh, you guys! I'm botching this.
You really are.
I am. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but right now the Grace-Filled Step Parenting is yes.
Okay.
But what would be cool is to offer all these books in like a bundled package.
Yeah.
One of these days, so I might work on that. Connecting was one.
Connecting, yeah.
Which is parenting. It's not really to do with blended families,
Right.
but Connecting had to do with
Yes, raising
teenagers.
Right.
And that was a very practical, great, easy read. So go get that. There was also A Special New Friend.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
That's the actual title.
That's where I was getting at.
Tamara
I'm not the book reader, as you guys can tell.
So that was a picture, like not a picture book, but a
It's
child's book
yeah.
to help introduce a new step parent into their lives. Yeah. And that was a really amazing book. So hopefully we can start offering these books in our shop.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention too is that in all of the tiers in our Blended Life Raw, we're going to kind of go back to the Instagram live podcast. So anytime we record, and we don't record at the same time all the time now because we're just crazy, but you're going to be able to watch us live on Instagram as we record. We're going to go on a little bit before, we're going to go on a little bit after, and we're going to interact with you guys, and we might have questions. We're like, what topic do we want to talk about today? So we might take topics, and we're going to involve you guys. So that's just something I forgot to discuss that I think is kind of fun.
Yeah,
so
it was fun. I love recording live.
Yeah.
And having comments and feedback and questions, and who knows, we might stay afterwards and chat with you guys a little bit longer after we're done off air. And this isn't something that the public is going to be able to do. You'll be able to access that through the Instagram Blended Life Raw. Yep. So I hope you guys like this. We'll see what happens. We're hoping other things down the line, but
got to start somewhere.
We got to start somewhere, and we truly do appreciate your support, your encouragement,
and the feedback. The feedback is what keeps us going. Like really, like it's encouraging to hear. Like when when we help people or people help people or advice, because it's not always our advice that people are taking, it's advice from you guys, it's stories that you guys have or situations that is inspiring or helping us work it out with other people. So it's a community thing, like we said. So it's just a neat thing.
Yeah, we're grateful. Yeah. Okay, should we get to questions of the day?
Let's get going.
Okay.
All right, time to start the podcast, you guys.
So we have two questions. These are actually from our Facebook group. Mm-hmm. So, first one, Lordy, I don't really even know if I'm asking a question here or looking for advice or just someone to listen. How I'm like, it's probably all three.
Yes.
If you're anything like us.
Right.
Yeah. So she says, my husband and I just got married in June. We each brought teenage and young adult children into our blended family. So we did not live together before marriage, and so we're putting two households together now. Okay. And I did not realize that we had so much stuff until we were finally moving it all. I feel so overwhelmed with all the stuff in the house and trying to go through everything and get rid of essentially a whole house full of stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't even know where to start. We're moving into this house and selling my house. My house is almost cleared out so we can get carpets clean, touch up some paint, and get it on the market. But I don't know where to start with our house. It's livable at least, but we just have boxes everywhere, and I can't really direct our kids to put away when there's nowhere to put it because husband and I have to go through everything and decide what to keep and what to pitch out.
For sure. Yep.
It's just so overwhelming, and we both work full time, so it's just a lot. Did you deal with this when you blended your homes?
8 years ago. Are you still dealing with it? Yes. Yeah, it's one of those things like just live in the moment, take the time, breathe. This doesn't have to happen all right away. You feel like you want it to, right? And you want everything just to be cookie cutter, nice, neat, clean, and be OCD like me where everything just has its spot, and it's never that way.
I don't think anyone would walk into our house and think anyone's OCD.
What? Not one bit, but my brain is, and it blows my mind every time I walk in our house and nothing has a spot. I mean, everything has a spot, but it's not the right spot. The cupboards are overflowing. The drawers are spilling out. The trash is overflowing. Not really. I'm just getting exaggerated here. But it's part of it. It's part of the process and making it yours and not rushing it. You have two households worth of goods and living. Take the time and figure out, what do we want to keep? It doesn't have to be all his. It doesn't have to be all yours. Take the time and figure out, what do we want here? What are we going to keep?
Well, and it's actually kind of cool because you have adult children and and teenage children who will be moving out.
I feel like that's a sword that kind of cuts at both edges, though.
Why?
Because children, when they're young, they're a lot more obedient when it comes to stuff like this.
I'm not talking about hear me out. Mm-hmm. So what I'm thinking would be really awesome as an idea would be to find a really cheap storage and put things in it that kids can take later. So if you have kids on the cusp of moving out and getting their own place, or whatever, instead of having the pressure to need to decide what to keep, what to throw, getting rid of it. Because even what a pain in the ass to have to get rid of stuff. It's just a lot. But if you could put stuff in storage that kids could pick through later, or, hey, Sarah's moving out, go get what you want out of storage so that you don't have to go buy a table. We have two, you don't need a coffee table. You don't need, maybe you have an extra refrigerator, which is always great in case something breaks. Sometimes there's a blessing in having two of everything because inevitably something in your household's going to break. Cheaper to maybe store it and use it later than to buy new, and maybe help kids out. I don't know. It's just an idea.
Yeah, or if that's a great idea. I like that idea. Or storage is very expensive now in some places. The other thing that you guys can do is Facebook Market, Craigslist, start selling stuff, you know. It's usually better, in my opinion, to get everything situated, come up with the way everything's going to be. And again, take your time doing this. It's going to feel chaotic, but that's welcome to blended life. Welcome to blended families. It's going to feel chaotic at time. And this is exactly why you're here listening to this or watching this, is because you're trying to find clarity, and clarity will come, but that's when you two are on the same page. And this is part of the process. So don't fight about this process. So don't let this become something that you guys get into fights with and arguments about. Let it be a process to bring you guys together, bring the whole family together. Yes, it's going to be a lot of chaos, but I feel like this can also be chaos that brings people together. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it can also go the other way.
Oh, it totally can.
Because
I'm not saying it can't.
No, but like, you know, if you, I mean, there's a lot of memories probably that don't involve other people, and
sometimes,
you know, it's stuff like that. But I think my favorite piece of advice so far is box by box.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't have to be even room by room. Break it down even further. Let's just open this box right now. If we feel like opening another box after we're done sorting through this one, great. You know, and just kind of go with it.
For sure.
But I also think it's important to have kind of a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So
well,
boxes,
you're such a planner,
I
so
know,
of course
this
you're
is
going to
like
have a plan.
blowing my mind.
Right.
So I'm like, all boxes should be in the rooms that they belong to. Like, that's step one. But then what if boxes aren't? I can't.
Yes, but then that's also the problem here, is that there's too many boxes, and now no one can do anything because they're all crowded in with boxes, and now we're all box trolls. You guys seen that movie? That's a good movie. Maybe take a cue from that, where everyone just lives in boxes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I don't know. And let's talk about, well, I mean, how do you even bring in furniture if there's boxes? Do you think there's furniture in there right now?
Okay, well, so here, let's start here. Big items first. Furniture. Furniture is a must. Beds.
What if you can't put furniture
couches,
because of boxes?
No. Bring that stuff in first. Sort out your Sort out your big stuff. Let's start a list here. We're gonna go essentials. We're gonna go furniture. Furniture is a big thing. Everyone needs furniture. Everyone needs beds. The house needs couches, chairs.
So maybe all boxes in the garage first until
Okay,
furniture is
sure.
distributed throughout the house.
Yeah.
And then you take boxes and put them in each room, or do you unpack?
Order them up in priority. Like, what's our priority? Well, we need to get the kitchen set up because we're gonna have to have meals. You know, laundry room I feel is like a pretty easy one, right? Whose washer and dryer are we using? What washer and dryer are we putting out to the curb? You know, or are we putting in storage, or are we getting rid of?
Yeah, or donate plates. Like, I know so many people. I had an extra set of plates, and so happened my friend got her own place, and I had an extra set of plates to gift her because.
What's your advice on Tupperware? Keep it all. Right? Keep all your Tupperware. Especially having a blended family, you're going to have leftovers. You're going to have
Tupperware is
meals.
Just like socks. I don't know. None of it matches. There's
you
singles
always
of everything.
need it, right? You always need it. Keep all the Tupperware. That's just advice.
And let's talk about boxes when you're done emptying them all. Then you just got piles and piles and piles.
A lot of places, depending on where you got the boxes from, some places will buy them back. I think U-Haul will buy them back. Some places will buy them. But that's also one of those things to keep around, especially if you have adult children. Keep them around because you always need boxes, and they're a pain in the butt. But as long as you break them down nicely and put them somewhere, keep them because you always need boxes.
Yeah, and what do you always do with our boxes? You leave them out so then it rains.
No, the ones I want to get rid of, I let get wet because then they get soggy and you can mush them up and they compact very, very easily when they're, but it takes a lot of water. So if I need to get rid of boxes, like old boxes, like something got shipped to me and I need to put it in the recycling bin, like during the winter or something, I'll let it sit out and get soaked and then I smush it all up, wring it out and throw it in the recycling.
Look at you have joy on your face. That's
it's
really
fun
weird.
to do
It's
when
really
they're soaking.
fun.
Yeah.
It's fun, guys.
You have no idea what you can do with the soggy box.
I also thought of something for motivation. I think that there should be a reward. Like, if we get all this done, this is our reward. Like, we get to go away for the weekend or on a fun trip, or we get to do something like we get, I don't know what it is, a night out to our favorite restaurant. Like,
well, maybe that's what part of this is.
Goal.
Maybe part of the whole process is they don't want to store this. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to incur extra fees. So everyone pitches in. We all sell stuff. We get rid of stuff. We have a ginormous garage sale, and we've sold stuff, and all the money goes into our first blended family trip. And we have a whole house full of stuff.
It depends on how much we make. Depends on.
I was about to start shooting for the moon here or Hawaii, but
yeah, that's a really great idea. Like, try to sell what you don't want. I know it can be hard too when you're trying to figure out his or hers, mine or yours.
Yeah.
Which is better. Maybe you sell both and buy an ours.
There you go.
Can
we do that with kids too?
You don't want an ours kid. We don't want ours kids. No.
Oh.
But there's something to be said about our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that we don't have a lot of in our house.
Which is weird because it all is ours, but we didn't make it that way. I don't know. Yeah.
We won't tell our story.
That's so stupid.
So, I think that it's something worth considering and talking about when you're feeling really stuck or you feel like neither feels good, because, okay, let's get graphic. You have a couch that you've had in each other's homes, and you're like, which couch are we going to choose? Well,
which one has the less stains on it?
Yeah, except you see where I'm going with this. Or whatever,
Leather
right?
Couch. Leather couch every time.
So I mean, there might be some things where you're like, you know what? Let's get rid of both and let's buy something that's ours, that we pick out, that is new to our family, that is no attachments or stains from anyone else. But that is something to think about. And it doesn't have to be your whole house, but maybe you pick one piece of furniture that is important to you guys that you can't quite agree on his or hers, and figure out maybe we sell both and make it an our situation. Don't you think that would feel good?
For sure. Well, and the cool thing is, it
fun
sounds
to
like
go pick out stuff, right?
It sounds like they both have they both own a home, so they're going to be able to get rid of one home. Maybe there'll be equity in this home, and they can put it towards refurnishing their new home the way that they want. I mean, there's a lot of fun that can come out of this, but I think
that is let's stop with that. If you can make this fun at all, that's why I'm like, have a goal. Maybe, everyone gets, whoever unpacks this box the fastest gets to choose dinner tonight. Like, if you can make it fun, or, be playful when you're unpacking a box together with your husband, maybe, for each thing you put away, you take off a piece of clothing.
Wow. With adult children in the house.
Well, I mean, chances are adult children aren't in the house very much. But my point is, like, if you can make this process fun, it won't seem so miserable, so daunting, so overwhelming.
Right.
And break it down box by box. Don't make it so overwhelming. And like Eric said, be slow about it. Don't put pressure on it.
Well, one of my favorite things to talk about on here is
finances.
No, communication.
Then why is it not wonderful in our marriage?
Then because I'm just me and I can't control you. Wait, why are you not laughing anymore?
Literally, this is what my ex-husband said in like the last, literally very word for word.
I know.
Wow.
I'm just paraphrasing what your last text was. I'm sorry. Sorry to bring up the past 10 minutes. No, but you know what? It's one of those things, like, this is a great time where you can either have fun with it. It can make you or break you. This can be a lot of stress and a lot of headache, which sounds like you can clearly see that. Have fun with this. Communicate about it. Be open. Don't be so stuck on something now. If he wants to get rid of, your favorite pair of shoes, then have an opinion on that.
Or throw them at his head.
Pots and pans, this
kidding.
is all material stuff that we're talking about, though. And I think that's the big picture here. It's all material stuff. Don't let that come between you, because if you guys can let the material stuff come between you, everything else is going to seep in.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, if it bugs the other person, let them have it.
Yeah.
Also, like, if something really bugs the other person to keep around in the house, concede it. It's not worth it. Love them, see them, hear them, because I'm sure something is going to bug you. And it is kind of like why do we want anything in our sacred space that bugs the other person? Why do we want anything in our home to make the other person feel uncomfortable or they hate it? Because this is our sacred space that we're creating together, a home that we are building now together, especially because you guys did not live together before you were married. So I think it's not just the overwhelm of, I think the overwhelm of the stuff is the scapegoat for maybe the overwhelm of living together.
That's part of it. And I mean,
it's a lot.
We had lived together for years, and our first year of marriage was very, very difficult. Not for any reason other than it was very, very difficult. We can't pinpoint any reason why it was very, very difficult.
I can.
But it was very, very difficult.
Do you want me to pinpoint?
I don't know. Do we want to pinpoint?
I don't know. You're just saying we can't pinpoint, but I'm like, I can pinpoint.
Just one thing?
Well, I think the biggest reason our first year of marriage was so hard was because it fell flat. Like, up to us getting married, we always had something to look forward to. So, like, when we were dating, you know, looking forward to spending time and making time and seeing each other and introducing the kids and meeting the families. And
we always had something to do.
We lived together, and then it was like, oh, like, how does that look? And we're building this family in this house, and then we got engaged, and then we were planning a wedding, and it's like all this, and then we have the honeymoon, and then you get back, and you're like,
I'm bored.
But that's hard to have, so blended life, like this podcast series and our outreach and this passion project, this podcast and blended life, social media and everything is truly our passion project.
Yeah, and it came after our wedding.
That's right. It was something that we could focus on, that was a joint effort, that had a goal in mind. And I think that's a really important thing for married people, especially in blended families, when you may not have children as your common goal because you have different sets of parents. There's different co-parents. It's not truly like us raising the kids.
Right.
It's
and every
like
kid's different.
You two are raising the kids. I don't know what I'm doing over here. Like, but it's not
unpacking boxes.
Something. So, but you know what I mean?
For sure.
So I think with blended family marriages, having a common goal, having something to work towards,
and they don't have
together
to be big. They don't have to be big goals.
Really
they could be date nights. You know, and it doesn't have to be every night.
Let's talk about date nights.
It doesn't have to be every night. Every night or every week or consistently every Thursday at 6 p.m. we're going on date night. It can be something to look forward to. We're gonna put something in place that in 2 weeks from now, we're gonna have dinner together. We're gonna go out. And
yeah, I think that is something that is. So always having something to look forward to.
Yeah.
You
need that so bad.
I need that so bad. Like if I have no trips, no activities, nothing to look forward to, it feels like Groundhog every day for what?
Right.
It helps me to know that even if it is a month out, you and I are going to go away for one night.
Unless you get sick.
But you know what I mean? Like if it's scheduled, then I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's something to focus on,
to look forward to. And it's fun to plan stuff like that. One piece of advice for newlyweds that we don't take ourselves, but a goal I always had was that we would take one vacation a year as a family. And I feel like we've done that for the most part with the kids.
Right.
But we'd also take one vacation a year, you and me.
And that's where we get hung up. It's not
and
the
it never
it's
has
not
happened.
What the kid.
We haven't been on vacation together since our honeymoon.
Right.
And we didn't go on vacation together before our honeymoon.
Right.
We've had one vacation
We do
together.
little weekend. We do like 2 or 3 days away. Well, we did one that was like 4 or 5 days, up the coast for Thanksgiving. We had that one. That was kind of our getaway. I think we were gone for 4 nights.
Maybe.
Right?
I don't know.
For Thanksgiving when we had no kids. So that was kind of like our every other year. And then we started getting busy. But yeah, in blended family, blended life situations, finding time for just you and I to go away for a long amount of time because there's so many cooks in the kitchen. We're having to coordinate with, other people and co-parent with other people.
Yeah, but here's the deal. If it was a priority, it'd be a priority. We would schedule it. We would be like, it's just not been a priority for us.
Well, why haven't you made this a priority yet?
It's just not been a priority for us for a lot of reasons. Things have happened, but I think going forward, like we should go home, pick a week.
A week? Let's do
5 nights, 7 nights, whatever. Over the next 12 months, pick like a and give all the other parents plenty of time to plan and, pick somewhere we want to go and then save up for it.
All right, you guys, tonight we're picking where we're going. Maybe
if you have suggestions, it'd be really fun if our listeners wrote in suggestions and we put them in like a bowl and then we drew it out on air. This is where we're going.
Please don't screw us, people.
Should we do that?
We're
going to have to and document it on Blended Life Raw.
Downtown Haiti. Oh.
What would that be fun?
Downtown Haiti?
No, I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Like, yes. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that.
That's a great idea.
So here's the deal. If you're listening to this podcast.
We're making this up as we go, people.
I know. Well, it's just because Eric and I need a vacation. Really, we should be taking one. I believe this is healthy for marriages. Whether you're blended family or not. Do you think one vacation a year?
I don't think it's a lot. I think it's great. I think it's a good goal. Let's
get
start
away
somewhere.
for a period of time and reconnect.
Yeah.
Out of work, out of kids, out of, and it can be somewhere awesome. It can be we go an hour and a half down to Santa Barbara and we're there. I don't know. But it's just to get away. So if you guys have suggestions for us on where we can go, should we do you in the United States? Let's not be like Australia. Yeah.
Go down under, mate. All right.
Okay. In the United States of America, what is your favorite city to visit? What is your favorite vacation destination in the United States of America? Write in. You can write in on Facebook, on Instagram, under this video.
And it doesn't have to be exotic. It can be fun.
In the United States of America, it probably isn't going to be exotic.
You can go to Hawaii. It's beautiful.
If anybody wants to write Hawaii down, my favorite place ever.
Yes, but been there so many times. Like, what about someone's like, oh, there's this awesome little town called Harmony off Highway 1, and it's so pretty and cute, and some people would love something like that. Little tiny Dutch town of Solvang, or you know what I mean?
Please don't put those down.
You know what I'm saying? There's cool little towns that are just little hidden under rock type places.
Yeah. So why don't you guys go ahead and write down your favorite vacation destination in the U.S. We will put them in a bowl, and next week we will draw.
Let's make that our September 1st, so we got time to have listeners get their comments in.
So we're going to announce this every week?
What?
We're going to announce this every week on our podcast? We're going to announce this
once. We're going to announce it September.
No, we're every week up till September, we're going to announce this so that we have enough.
Okay.
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay. We're just making shit up as we go.
Welcome
to our thought process.
Yeah.
So from now until September 1st, you can write in your favorite vacation destination.
In the United
Eric
States.
will make a list of all these, and then we will draw in September.
Make a list with my color
crayons. You wanted
crayons.
this to last a month.
I want it to last all month.
Yeah. And then we'll draw live on air and see where we're going to go for 5 to 7 days.
5 to 7 weeks.
Weeks?
We're moving. Bye, kids.
But that'll be fun. Okay. So we got really off track. Second question.
So
I hope that helps the if you're moving and this is you and you are overwhelmed, have fun. Break it down.
Wiki whack.
Is that a thing?
It is now.
Okay. Here's another situation. On kid nights and weekends, my fiance and his daughter, 14 years old, decide on dinner.
Pizza.
We live together, and this past Sunday was a kid weekend, and he asked what we should do for dinner, and him and I planned it. Then he tells his daughter he tells his daughter, and she doesn't want to eat what we decided on, so he makes what she wants instead. I just end up cooking for myself. I don't want to make a big deal about food, but I felt like I was dismissed, and as an adult, it didn't matter. I was dismissed as an adult, and it didn't matter. I keep trying to tell him we need to be a team, so she starts to see us this way more. Otherwise, it's like she runs the roost on her weekends and he just jumps at whatever she wants to do or whatever she wants to eat. Am I overthinking this or just being ridiculous? Is this the way kid weekends just are? Is this always going to be divorce daddy syndrome? Hashtag swallowing a lot of sand.
A lot of sand. Yeah, this is one of those things that if you let it be this way, it's going to be this way. It's hard as an adult to cater to everyone, but this is a conversation you and I have had quite a few times, that if we're going to let our kids decide, and this is this came up, we've talked about this. If you guys have been listening to us for a long time, one of our probably number 20 episodes, we talked about this. We went to Disneyland once, and our kids were all arguing and fighting because not arguing and fighting, but they all had their own idea of what they wanted to go do and all their rides that they wanted to go do. And finally, it just came down to the point where, like, you know what? We're going to pull rank, and we're going to be the parents in this situation, and we're going to tell you guys what we're going to do. What's everyone want to do, and we're going to tell you how we're going to do it. And it's got to be the same thing with food, because this is something that can happen very, very easily, and kind of does happen in our house a little bit, where kids get almost too much input. Would you agree? And if kids aren't, I'm very much like, oh well, like, I don't care. You don't care, but it's to the point to where you don't want to argue about it or fight about it. And I think we just need to not.
Here's the deal. If you don't have the backing of your spouse, or your partner, your boyfriend, girlfriend, if you want a rule in place, but your spouse shortcuts that rule, finds a loophole in that rule, sidesteps said rule, like maybe your spouse agrees with you, but then finds a loophole or sidesteps it, or the kid gets it out a different way, then that's not really supporting you. So it doesn't really matter what you want. If your spouse doesn't back you and you guys aren't a team, it sounds like you're not a team because he is enforcing what his daughter wants and sidestepping, dismissing you, actually was your word. So he's dismissing you and giving in to what daughter wants. That is not the behavior of a teammate to you. So whether you might see yourself as a team or you might want that, if your spouse isn't on that same page or acting like your teammate, you can shout at the rain all day long. You can swallow all the sand, but nothing's going to happen.
And it will never change because they aren't on the same page, coming together as a team and standing as a united front going, nope, this is what's for dinner. This is what we're having, and tough luck.
So I think the real issue here is having a conversation about what your relationship is. Are we teammates or are we not? And if we are teammates, what does that mean to you? This is what it means to me. What does it mean to you? Can we compromise and find something in the middle so that we both feel seen, heard, respected, all the things, So, maybe a compromise would be, as a team, we're going to decide that she can pick dinner Friday night, and then we pick dinners on Saturday, Sunday, him and I will. And how do you feel about that? So that he feels like his daughter still gets to have a say in his home, but then it's also not carte blanche. Like, is there a compromise there? But it just sounds like you want this teammate thing, but your spouse isn't showing up, or your boyfriend isn't showing up in that same respect.
Another good thing that you do is you'll go shopping and you'll bring home X amount of meals, and rather than going, what do you guys want to eat? And everyone's like, pizza, fast food,
I can't have that conversation
blah, blah, blah.
anymore.
But exactly. So what you've done, I feel like, to combat it a little bit is you'll bring home, say, 3 meals. And you go, if you even care about giving anyone the choice, you let them pick from the 3 meals. So at the end of the day, you kind of win because you're still controlling what we're having for dinner, but you're letting the kids kind of get a little bit of a say in it too, or me, because you're letting us pick which one of the dinners. So it's at least honed down at that point. But I feel before they even get to this point, they need to have that conversation and get on the same team and get,
And the reality is he may not want that. like you may want that, but
but he might also just not be aware of it. This might be something that's happening that he's just not fully aware.
Why are you guys not aware of shit?
Exactly.
This is something that women always talk about. Like, how are you unaware of what's happening when you're in it?
Mm-hmm. Can you see the screen? Can you see it? It's only on your face. It's like a mirror for you right now. Start shouting at the rain or the mirror. Yeah, it's
I don't I'm just really trying to understand, like,
because people get going and we're problem solvers, us men, and we want to fix things.
It doesn't matter if you're a problem solver if you're not noticing the problem. It's like, who the fuck cares if you're solving something that...
But if the woman's not telling... I don't even have time to beep you out in this. If a woman's not telling you that there's a problem, then there's no communication.
So we are allowed to tell you that.
Yes, of course. If there's an issue, if there's something, you should be telling us that there's an issue, and vice versa. If men have issues, they should be telling their wives or their girlfriends or their fiancé, whatever, that there's an issue. And being problem solvers, if it's not working out, like maybe he's just going too fast and he's not realizing it because he hasn't been called out on it yet. So call him out, have a conversation with him, get on the same page. If that's not workable, then something else needs to give. They need to work something else out.
And I think it's important to use the word that you feel dismissed.
That was her own word too, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's a very important word, because living in a life of being dismissed in a relationship, I don't know if that's sustainable and have like a healthy, fulfilling relationship. I don't know if that can coexist. I don't think it can.
Is it just in this situation though, or is it everything else about the situation?
Here's the food thing. Like, she doesn't want to make a big deal about food, but here's what you don't like. It's kind of the perfect thing to make it a big deal out of, because food on the grand scheme of things is small, but what happens if this isn't squashed now is it snowballs into bigger things later. So this is a lot of parents don't parent their kids until it's too late, and then they're like, kids are out of control and they don't know what to do. And it's like, listen, if you had parented your kids with expectations from day one, at 2 years old, they learn not to bite if they're biters, right? There's punishments, there's consequences. You know, they don't get to lie, they get in trouble, right? They don't get to be disrespectful, they get in trouble. And they learn these series of things when they're younger. When they're older, you don't have to deal with it as much because it's been instilled with them. But a lot of parents let it go, not a big deal, whatever, and then it's too late or it's just too hard. And so here's what I have to say about that. If you don't nip stuff like this in the bud now, it will snowball and get harder and more difficult to change as time goes on. And as time goes on, your patience is going to dwindle. You're not going to have much tolerance for this anymore. And it's going to be that we have a breakup fight over fucking food. So deal with it now. Deal with the food. Be like, and explain to your partner that this is a symptom of a bigger issue, is that she's ruling the roost. That's what that feels like. And it starts with food maybe, but what's next?
But here's the thing with food, though. You say it's a little thing. She says it's a little thing.
I mean,
it is. I mean, yes,
it's food.
It's food. However, how often do you eat food? How often do you have dinner? It's a little thing that's going to be, it's going to be chronic. It's going to happen quite often, like that cough. It's going to be one of those, it's going to be an issue that comes up every single night or every single Friday or every time that you're talking about food. It's just going to be there, and it's just going to be a problem all the time. So am I boring you over there?
No.
She's just busy on her watch.
No, my daughter said goodnight.
Tell her we're podcasting. This is not the time or the place.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, we break bread with friends over food.
Right.
Jesus had Last Supper. Like, food is important.
But it's a daily thing. It's a daily occurrence.
It is, and it is...
But it's a small thing, you know, and this is the way that rocks get whittled away by water, you know? Drip, 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 and all of a sudden... Why are you laughing? All of a sudden, there's
Lots
an
of
indention.
Things drip, drip, drip.
Okay. I'm just going to beep you out now. You haven't even said it, but everyone's thinking it now, and thanks to you.
Isn't there a Sublime song about that?
There is. And then
Will you sing it to us?
And then something about a vegetable and just anyways.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm talking about. So eventually this is just going to wear away. She's going to get exhausted of this. It's going to end up being enough pieces of straw that'll break the camel's back.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not calling you a camel. It's just going to break your back.
So to answer your question, I don't think you're overthinking this. I don't think you're being ridiculous. I think that when you're forced to swallow sand, I don't even know how much. I joke about that as like it's a step parent's party trick is swallowing sand, right? Like that will probably make sure to say something like that. But is that sustainable? I mean, how much sand can one swallow before you're filled up with sand and have nothing? Like there's no room, right? And so better that you deal with it now before you explode later.
Yep, because it's all going to add up. And this is a little thing. If you guys can conquer this thing, start here. You know, it's a clear and present issue right now.
And it shouldn't be the way that kid weekends are.
No, gosh, because then you're gonna dread kid weekends. It's gonna be like, damn it, it's a kid weekend. I'm gonna bite my tongue, swallow my sand, and be depressed for the weekend.
Well, and then another reality him and I face, not really like this, but here's the thing: you never know what could happen. So we have your son now all the time. So if you don't fix this now, you could sometime end up with this child all the time. And then kid weekend, like some step parents will white knuckle through a weekend because they know they get a break.
How are your knuckles doing?
Pretty good. So here's the reality though. If you don't fix it now, like things change, right? Things happen in parents' lives and, people pass away, people have addictions and can't care for kids. People move out of state and can't take the kids with them because they got a job. Like there's a lot of different reasons why kids might end up in your home solely. So understand too that you might think that you can white knuckle it through the kid weekend, but what if kid weekend somehow became
all the time?
Yep. Then what? Because as a step parent, that's a very real possibility. I never thought we would be in this situation, but here we are. And I don't know, it might shift again. And so it is just an interesting dynamic to keep in mind as a step parent. Like, you can't think like that. And so it is also important because you never know what life has in store for you and these children down the road and what you might have to step up and do or, So
that's that.
Communicate.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, just communicate. It's.
Can we talk about anger? This is a good thing because I feel like everyone gets angry, male, female, it doesn't really matter.
Who gets the angriest?
You.
Oh.
So, but that doesn't even matter. I'm curious on so when you're communicating and you're angry, is it better not to talk when you're angry and to address it later? Or how do you communicate with somebody who is angry or talk about anger and communication?
For sure. I don't like to communicate when I'm angry at all because I'm thinking off the cuff. It's more of a battle than it is a team building experience, if you will. It's just more off the cuff. You're not thinking clearly. You're angry. Let things calm down and simmer down and let time pass. Think about it. Pray about it. Take time to absorb your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, what's relevant, what's not relevant, and then have the conversation. And if this is something that you want to have a good conversation with your spouse about, let them know that this conversation is coming. Don't just hit them with it. If you truly care about getting to the bottom of something,
we do none of what you're saying.
Because I am only me. We've already we've already established this. But really, a lot of times if there is something that needs to be talked about, there's an elephant in the room and we both know it. We are both aware that we're going to need to talk about this. And we don't argue in the heat of things too often. I feel like we will circle the drain a little bit, but we'll come back to something later, or we agree to disagree, or it's not one of those things that you and I are in the heat of the battle and we're angry about something and we just sit there and argue it out until one of us is so angry that we feel like we won or they won, or you know what I mean? We don't leave it like that, and we don't approach each other so angry.
Yeah, and I think something that when you're angry, you have to realize is that each person has their own thing. So we have to say it was a parenting thing, and I recognize that I have a different parenting style than Eric. Eric has a different parenting style than me, and so we may not agree because we have very good reasons why we do, and they're both right. We can both be right. We can both have very valid reasons for the reason we think things should be or the way we do things. And so the thing is to always keep in mind when you're angry is to look for the compromise.
For sure.
It's not even about you or your spouse. It's about the compromise that exists in between.
And look at the big picture and extend grace.
Yeah.
A lot of times we just need to extend grace. It's not about winning. It's about the big picture. It's about us. It's about our family. And it's about all of us winning. At the end of the day, if you and I are both winning and our kids are winning, we're all winning. If I'm just the only one winning, and we had this conversation the other day, it's not about me and my world and everyone just living it.
Was it a conversation?
It was. I was telling you. It's not my world. It's not my world, and it's not all about me. But it was a very anger, unselfish thing that I was saying. You know, you're like, well, what do you want? What do you want? It's not about me. Mm-hmm. It's about us. Yeah. It's about our situation. It doesn't matter what Eric wants all by himself.
Yeah. Sometimes, though, so this is, I know we need to wrap up, but I think in that specific situation, I knew how you felt. Mm-hmm. I knew that I felt different. Mm-hmm. And so I couldn't see the compromise. So mm-hmm. I'm like, and I was kind of like, you really cared about something that I was like, I don't.
Then you need to put it like that. Then it needs to be like, look, I have no feelings about this, whatever.
Well, I do, but like they're different. No, like that's what I said. Like so we feel differently. Yeah. I didn't see how there was going to be a compromise, right? And I don't want anger. So then it's like, well, then what do you do about that?
There are no holes in the wall.
There are no holes, but no, it's sometimes like that. But I think that you need to wait till anger subsides.
For sure.
Because I don't think anybody hears anyone.
No, and then you just get clear minds, and it's just so much calmer and easier, and a lot of feelings disappear when anger's gone. So, anyways, thank you guys for listening to us. And
hope you're not angry.
I hope you're not angry. If so, then compromise. But check out our Patreon /blended life or buy me a cup of coffee /blended life, and just check them out. See what you guys think. If you guys are interested in Julie's coaching, 90-day programs, she's got those all dialed in, and that's really fun to hear. So give her a look.
Yep. Don't forget to go get Grace-Filled Step Parenting. So we're going to start reading this in September together.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions, leave us comments. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit the bell. Subscribe. Do all the things so you guys know when we're live, and go sign up and be part of our I can't wait for people to start signing up on Blended Life Raw, Blended Life Raw, because it's going to be it's going to be fun. It's just going to be different. It's not going to be as polished. It's going to be more.
Is this polished?
Behind the scenes. No, but you know what I mean? It's going to be more behind the scenes, a little more, I don't know.
Am I going to be allowed to cuss?
I might drop an F-bomb or two or 16, depending on the time. I might turn on. Are you going
to show your nipple?
Yeah, just one. Anyways, you guys, thanks for being here with us. We're the Blended Life, and we will see you next time.